What's going on, everybody? It's Mr. Do It All, and in this video we're going to be starting into the AFC North as we look at the Cleveland Browns, a team that is building through the draft, had 3 first-rounders last year, has more picks coming next year. I mean, this team is in the midst of a great rebuild, in my opinion. They drafted really well. They finally have somebody, a GM and a head coach that looks like they should be able to keep around for a while. They understand what the goal is here is to be better in the next 3 to 4 years, not next year or the year after that. I like what they've done so far in the draft this past season. Adding Myles Garrett, obviously, in the first round with the first pick. Jabril Peppers, a safety running back combo. Maybe he'll just play safety in the NFL. David Njoku from Florida, he's a great athlete. And their potential starting quarterback of the future is DeShone Kizer. I mean, he has been named the starter for this next season, so we'll see how that goes. Looking at some of their moves that they made over the past offseason, this past year they were 1-15. They let Terrell Pryor walk. They haven't had Josh Gordon for about 3 or 4 years now. Andrew Hawkins retired. And they let Josh McCown and Robert Griffin go, as well as Brock Osweiler earlier this week. Some of their key additions include Kenny Britt, Kevin Zeitler, J.C. Treader, some offensive linemen right there, and Jason McCourty, the cornerback, probably somebody to come in and help out, as they just recently also released Joe Hayden, and they brought in Calvin Pryor. Now, looking at this team right now, they have probably one of the greatest left tackles to ever play the game in Joe Thomas. And their quarterbacks right now, DeShone Kizer and Cody Kessler. We'll see what they do next year in the draft. Maybe they'll look at Lamar Jackson. I don't think that they will, based upon the fact that they have DeShone Kizer. I think that they think he's their guy, and Hugh Jackson is a quarterback whisperer. This team is able to run the ball really well. The only problem is that they don't only score touchdowns, so they can't stay in the lead to be able to run the ball. So they get up in catch-up mode, and they have to be throwing. Now on defense, they are very much improved with the addition of Myles Garrett, including guys that they drafted last year like Emmanuel Ogbah and Carl Nassib. So I mean, this team has been really building up their defensive line. They probably have one of the best young defensive lines in the league. In the secondary, they improved the addition of Jabril Peppers as well. The only thing that they might have a question about is their cornerback depth. It'll be interesting to see what happens there, but their linebacking corps is also great with Christian Kirksey and Jamie Collins. Jamie Collins that they acquired last year from the Patriots. But overall, this team is on the rise. I hope that they start ending up winning more games. I think that they can win maybe 5 or 6 games. We're gonna go ahead and look at their schedule now. They're not gonna be the worst team in the NFL. That's a fact. I don't think they will be. That'll be the Jets. They were the preseason champs, going 4-0. Not that that matters. But to start the season off, they play against Pittsburgh in Cleveland. I think that they'll lose that game. Pittsburgh's just a much better team. At Baltimore, I think that that'll be a close game, but I think Baltimore prevails. Then they get Indianapolis. I think they'll beat Indianapolis. Indianapolis is probably one of the worst teams in the league, actually, with the Jets. Then they got Cincinnati. I think they can beat Cincinnati. This is a home game for them, so I think that they can beat them. Then you got the Jets. I think they can beat the Jets. At Houston, that might be an L. Team's not quite there yet. Versus Tennessee, I think that's an L. And then versus Minnesota, I think that's an L as well. But Minnesota isn't that great on the offensive side of the ball. They're terrific on the defensive side of the ball. Then they get their bye week at Detroit. That's a toss-up game. I think that they have a chance to beat Detroit, but Detroit might prevail. It'll be interesting to see how they match up with some of these teams early on, like a Cincinnati, like the Texans, Tennessee, Minnesota, those type of teams, those mid-tier teams. You got Jacksonville. That's a W, I think, for Cleveland. At Cincinnati, they probably will split. So at the Chargers, I think the Chargers are better offensively than them. Just a tough matchup for them because the Chargers got Keenan Allen back, and their receiving corps is pretty good. Then they got Green Bay. That's an L. Green Bay is just a better team. Versus Baltimore. Like I said, I think that they'll play Baltimore tough both of those games, but I think Baltimore will probably prevail in both. At Chicago, I think they can beat Chicago. Both teams playing the cold already. So there's that. And then at Pittsburgh, I think that is also an L. Pittsburgh, I just think, is way better than them. And yeah, I mean, I think Pittsburgh will win this division. But that will just about do it. Browns fans, you have a bright future in front of you. Make sure to look out for that over the next couple of years. That'll do it for this video. Thanks for watching. I'm out.